Yo, what's up everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be making a video part 3 of how to get a rank 30 inside of Solo Showdown. So if you're new to the channel or if you're just wondering why I'm making more videos on this, I'm making a full series on how to get a rank 30. Since you cannot compact it all into a 10-minute video, I'm going to prepare you for every single outcome, every single little thing that matters, to try and prepare you as much as possible so you can get that rank 30 with as little stress and as much ease as possible. So in this video, which is part 3, we are going to be discussing a topic that I'll get to soon, but without further ado, let's do some explaining and yeah, let's get to part 3 of the series. Alrighty, so in part 3 we are going to be discussing flushing matchmaking. So do you ever just see lobbies of videos and you just think, whoa, there's a 500 there, there's a 700 or an 800 when they're playing at 1200 or even 1500 trophies and they're versing like 700s or 500s or whatever? It can be dependent on the server, but a technique that people use, that I use myself when I can, is flushing matchmaking. So if you verse Bob once, let's just say you get into a game and then you verse Bob, for example, you cannot verse Bob 24 hours. Well, in that 24-hour gap, you can never verse Bob again. So in Solo Showdown, other than you, there are 9 people. So if you play fresh off the bat, you'll verse the people closest to your trophies. You keep on doing that for 1 hour, all those 9 people, every single game, you can no longer verse. So you do that 10 times, all of a sudden 90 people you cannot verse higher up, and then it gets lower and lower and it gets easier and easier. Now it does depend what brawler you use. So for example, El Primo is really meta. However, you'll see a lot of El Primos and BBs, but the lower you get, it's possible that you start finding Crows and Leons, because that's what people like using lower in trophy bases, because you can't really use them higher because it won't work. But the problem is for El Primo, that doesn't really work too well. So sometimes it can be a good decision to flush matchmaking, but sometimes you don't want to flush it too much, where you start versing brawlers that aren't good for Solo Showdown but are good against you, like El Primo or BB or whatever. So the next thing is that while you're flushing matchmaking, I would highly suggest pick out a day that you can, 1, with a good map for the brawler, and 2, that you have complete time off. You can just sit there, play for 10 hours. Now, if you can't, then that's fine. If you can play for 5 hours, great. But there are a few things you need to keep in mind while playing for a long period of time. 1, try not to get bored, okay? Don't get sidetracked or bored. If you're entertaining yourself during matchmaking, so let's just say you're watching a movie, you're watching a video, or you're VCing your friend or whatever, and you're watching something that will keep you off the edge of your seat. So let's just say you're watching a movie or something with a big plot or whatever, and you want to figure out what happens next, and then you get into a match. All of a sudden, instead of you thinking, whoa, like, let's play this match properly, let's do this, let's do that, working accordingly to the match that you're in, you'll try to just get the match done with. You just want to get top 5, because top 5 is always good in any trophy range in Brawl Stars, okay? The worst you can lose are 2 trophies from top 5, so really all you're aiming for is top 5. So instead of you thinking, how can we get this first, what can we do, let's build a strategy, you'll just be thinking, dude, that plot is insane, I just want to get this match done with so I can check out that plot, because that's insane. So I've seen people do this, I've done this before, in fact I've done this a lot, I do it an amount where I should stop, but still try to keep motivated. Okay, you're playing for 5 to 10 hours. It's a long grind. You can get bored really easily because maybe you lose 2 games. So try to stay motivated and try to think about the end result rather than the grind itself. So let's just say you're playing at 800 and you're thinking, dude, I've got to get 200 more trophies. I just got a 4th and I just got an 8th. I'm slowly gaining trophies, or I'm slowly losing trophies or whatever. Try to stay motivated rather than think how long the grind will actually be. Think about the reward of the grind, because when you change your mindset to how annoying the grind will be to, whoa, this is a really good achievement, this would be really cool to add to the profile of mine with this achievement and this achievement, whatever achievement you have, then all of a sudden you'll just be thinking a lot better and you'll want to play better because you're almost hyping it up. So like, you're almost hyping up the reward where you want it more, and because you want it more, you're going to play better. Well, that's not always the case, but in this scenario it will be most of the time. Now that was going to be the entire topic for today's video, but we're only 5 minutes in and I have a full list for every single video, but I can just talk about some other things that you need to keep in mind for rank 30s, since we still have some time. So the next thing is, do not rush your games for fun. Using a fun brawler is extraordinarily dangerous when you are pushing a rank 30 or rank 35. Today we're going to be talking about rank 30s. What do I mean? Edgar, Buzz, Shelly, these are all fun brawls and they have this satisfying moments. Buzz, literally stunning like a BB or whatever, or a Primo, and just killing them is so fun. It's just so tempting to not do it when you have the opportunity to. Edgar, jumping on opponents or just destroying them in 3 seconds because they trust you. It's really tempting to do that and kill them. It's really satisfying. Shelly, it's so satisfying to super people and kill them. The problem is, these are fun things to do in Brawl Stars. Sometimes fun doesn't mean success or good in Brawl Stars. Now, fun is good, you know. But if you're pushing a rank 30, you need to be prepared to not really have that much of a good time. Obviously, you want to have fun pushing your rank 30, but you don't want to have too much fun where you're just focusing on that in the moment. You're just thinking in that one game, that cool super, and how satisfying it would be for you to clip it and then show people and then all those goodies. Do that at low trophies, don't do that while you're pushing rank 30s. So the reason that I failed my Edgar push, one, nobody likes Edgar, so everybody kills Edgar. And two, the reason is, well, the main reason is because I kept on jumping on brawlers and I shouldn't have. It was so fun where I just completely lost the motivation and just the grind of just pushing solos and pushing Edgar because I just couldn't resist jumping on people like Primos and BBs and whatever. And then sometimes you just play stupid because you just want to be in the moment. So that is extremely dangerous. Now, before I was talking about Shelly. Now, Shelly's a little bit different because Shelly doesn't really do well when there's a lot of tanks. And when I'm saying a lot, I'm saying like 2 Shellys and like 8 tanks. So sometimes you should super them, but try to play correctly and in that certain match rather than playing because you think, damn, this is going to be such a satisfying super right now. I remember around about 3-ish months ago, I was playing on my Shelly on my mini account. I was pushing her rank 30. And there was this lobby of 8 people teaming. Actually, I think it was 9. And there were like Shelly, Stews, everybody, Primos, BBs, like literally every single fruit in the basket. And then I thought, damn, this is a really good opportunity to super them and just get a really satisfying super. So I supered them. And then I got my super back, and then I supered them, and I did that like 3 times. Problem is, literally like nobody died. All it did, because it spread all the damage, they were all grouped up, but it spread all the damage onto them. It's not like they were all into a one tile section, and then they were just waiting for me to super them. No, nobody does that. They were all grouped up, but within like 5, 7, 10-ish tiles. So the issue is spread all the damage. I was thinking about how cool it would be to super them, and then unfortunately, they all just wanted me killed. So I literally got 8th, even though I did like 4 supers. I may even got someone killed. Like I probably got someone lower and killed them. I don't exactly remember the battle, but all I remember is I lost a big amount of trophies and it was not rewarding at all. And I was literally just thinking in the moment. And that is a 1,244 trophy meg. And they just got a loss in 3s. That is painful. We're getting a bit sidetracked though. So this is a bit more of an obvious one, but understand the meta and Brawl Stars inside out. When I say this, I don't just mean no Primo does 4 attacks, he has a super that jumps, and he has a cool star power that makes him fast. I mean know the damage, how many attacks it will take, and this is going to get more complicated and harder and harder and harder with level 10 and 11s being brought out. You'll have to calculate gears and whatnot. Really, this just comes with experience. I've played the game for 3 years. Before gears and level 11s came out, honestly, I really do not like gears and level 11s. It just makes the game so unpredictable. For games that is not healthy at all, unpredictable games is not good. It really frustrates people when they lose because they couldn't actually predict what was going to go on, and it was really just hoping that it works in your favor rather than you actually be able to mold the match. Because yeah, anyways, so basically understand the meta to an extraordinary amount. So understand who the best brawler is, understand who you want to go against. If there's a Shelly and you're using Primo, understand how many attacks it'll take, not for you to kill the Shelly, but for another Primo to think, whoa, this is worth it, let's jump on this Shelly as well. So you can kill that Shelly before she kills you at the end. You see my point? So you calculate everything so that it works out in the late game. So a lot of the time, Primos will jump onto a Shelly, do around about 2,000 damage, and then another Primo will be like, "Hey, this is my cue. I'm going to jump onto the Shelly," and then another Primo, and then they all played it perfect because they all they didn't really calculate. They more of just did a certain amount of damage, but they knew how many hits they had to do. So they did do some calculating, whether they already knew what to do or they calculated on the spot. They put in a certain amount of attacks, they did their super, waited for the next Primo, another Primo did that, happy days. Don't always rely on Primos to do this. A lot of time there'll be those Primos that are just too scared to do anything, and they literally will just spin the entire game and do nothing. I may be one of those Primos. So that's honestly your best bet, to calculate everything, because if you don't, then those games where you don't calculate it and then they're down and they have like 200 HP and you lost because you miscalculated it, or you just didn't know that they got a damage buff or whatever, and like in a previous meta you had a similar situation with that brawler and you won, and then you didn't keep track of the meta, and yeah, there's just so many issues with that. So it's a big plus to always stay prepared. It's not really about the push, it's more of how you do the push. So like, you don't actually, a lot of time whenever people look at a rank 30, they'll think, whoa, a rank 30, that's 5 ranks away from the hardest rank in the game. This must be difficult. I need a lot of skill. I need to know how to hit my shots. I need to do this. Well, no. A lot of it is really like psychological calculating. A lot of it's behind the scenes. When you watch people get rank 30s, there's such little that you actually see. It's like an iceberg. There's such little that you actually see, and there's so much going on at the back. So yeah, that is going to do it for part 3 of today's video. I'm going to be bringing out one probably like once every week, no, 2 every week maybe. I'm not too sure. There's a lot of things I need to go through. So yeah, that is going to do it for today's video. If this video helped you out in any form, consider subscribing. It helps the channel a ton. Yeah, that all said, have a good one.